Okie dokie, we have a replay here from the Longshanks and Evil Walrus Overlord. I believe this was a quick battle. I've never heard of Evil Walrus Overlord. Norska versus the Vampire Counts. We haven't seen a lot of Vampire Counts in Game 3, but there's no Crypt Horror spam here, and the Longshanks was sending it in. I'm like, you know what? I take a look at every replay that's in the file. I'll watch some Vampire Counts gameplay. This one wasn't that bad. I was like, you know, let's do it. We haven't had Vampire Counts on the channel forever, because they're generally considered quite overpowered. As for Norska, they're doing fine. They're a pretty mid-tier faction right now. So, for the Deer Walrus, 2 Marauder Horsemen with Throwing Axes, 2 Armored Skinwolves. We do have Wulfric the Wanderer on his Mammoth. Familiar Balefiend of Fire with Piercing Bolts of Burning and Flaming Sword of Ruin. A front line of Marauders. And then on the side, 2 Norscan Warhounds. One little note about this build, it is a quick battle, so this isn't exactly a tournament player, but just a quick thing. Wulfric with his Sword of Torgold, his Mammoth is the worst mount for it because he has mostly armor-piercing damage, so you're only getting plus 90% base weapon damage, which is base weapon damage is 150, so it's like 100 non-armor-piercing damage for this item, where on foot, on horse, he can generally get more out of this. Anyway, I digress. It's a fine Norscan build. For the Vampire Counts, we do have 2 Blood Knights, 2 Direwolves, one of which is the Dire Pack ROR. We do have a Vargulf. Blood Dragon Vampire Lord is the most common lord these days. He's just very, very imposing with his Helm of Discord, heart piercing, and all that good stuff. A single Mortis engine, a shitload of zombies, skeleton warriors, and zombies and skeleton warriors. Yeah, just trying to blob up Norska on top of that Mortis engine as best they can. Cool. We will get a charge here from the Direwolves and Blood Knights running straight into the Marauder Horsemen, who will not hold up very well. But a follow-up breath attack, kind of baiting them in, taking out most of the health on a Blood Knight model, and the Cold Voider Frostworm is going to dive in. I don't know if I mentioned he existed, but yeah, that was actually ended up being a nice play from Waller, so that he got caught napping. On the other side, Armored Skinwolves will fight back against the Dire Pack and Blood Knights. Now, Dire Pack and Blood Knights do have anti-large, but they don't have armor piercing, so maybe these Dire Wolves can hold out. What definitely needs to happen is the Chaos Warhounds need to swoop in and get a rear charge on these undead units and help them out. It looks like some Fellbats are distracting them for the moment, however. Wulfric might find himself in deep trouble. Flaming Sword of Ruin is on top of him, but he did just stroll straight into the fire. The Blood Dragon Vampire Lord with his buffs popped is near 762 armor-piercing value, and Wulfric's stuck fighting him. He's surrounded by skeletons and zombies. They're not going to do that much damage, but he really just loses the duel versus the Blood Dragon Lords. He doesn't want to be here at all. Cold Voider and some Skirmish Cab Fire have pretty much killed off the Blood Knights and Direwolves on that side. Over here, the Armored Skinwolves. One is retreating and healing. The other one is taking out the Dire Pack quite handedly. Meanwhile, Dogs getting round off by Fellbats. It looks like Walrus has maybe forgotten these units are over here entirely. The Tithe and other skeletons are slowly getting killed off by the Marauder frontline. Marauder frontline does outclass them by quite a good deal. Now, the Mortis Engine will be pushing them down, but normally you see, really nice breath attack straight on top of Wulfric, hitting the back of his Mammoth's howdah. Anyway, normally you see a Necromancer on a corpse cart because he gives all zombies and skeletons near him +5 melee defense and +5 melee attack. The Mortis Engine doesn't do that, so actually these are nerfed, quote-unquote, undead units. Blood Dragon Lord once again landing on top of Wulfric, really trying to take him down. Overcasting Invocation to Heck to keep his infantry alive. Probably a waste of Winds of Magic. Maybe wants to use it on the Blood Knights and Direwolves that are in disarray. Blood Knight's trying to rear charge into a mass of Marauders, but the Cold Voider is very healthy, ready to land straight on him, and actually Norska is up on the balance of power. Dogs have been remembered, and they are coming now along with that Skinwolf. We do get a big overcasted Piercing Bolts of Burning straight onto some Skeleton Warriors and Zombies. That is a big blob. It is moving too slowly to really dodge out, so it'll be taking a significant amount of damage. Thinning out some of the chaff. Maybe not the best usage of the Winds of Magic, but you gotta kill all the chaff eventually. Norska has their own blob over here. Would like to see that separate out quite a bit, but the Cold Voider has been played well. I will commend the Norscan player for his Cold Voider and Skinwolf play, though I do think his infantry blobbing has been a bit much, and he's occasionally forgotten his doggos. Blood Dragon Vampire Lord back in the fight. Wulfric nerfed down by the Helm of Discord, down to 14 and 10 for his melee stats. Still 4,000 HP up on that Mammoth. Tons and tons of health for the Blood Dragon Lord to get through, but get through it he certainly will. Last of the Blood Knights, maybe going to charge some Marauders who do sit here defending the throwing axes, though they get pushed straight through and the Blood Knights are onto the throwing axes who will have to pull out of there. Armored Skinwolves and Marauders finishing off Bats and Zombies. Bounce power shifts in the favor of the Undead, though, as their Vargulf is very healthy, their Mortis Engine is very healthy, and their Lord is healthy. Everything they've lost, besides the Blood Knights, but like all the infantry they've lost are pretty inconsequential. Blood Knights route off Marauders, route off the Skirmish Cav, but they get rear charged by Armored Skinwolves. Armored Skinwolves should be able to finish off that unit. Should. Another Piercing Bolts are burning this one. Undercast is coming in on the last of the Undead's infantry, and it's going to try to hit the Mortis Engine. If it's a direct hit, it actually might do significant damage to that single entity. Yeah, that's pretty good. Like 1/4 of its HP right there. And all of the infantry took a real shellacking. Balance of power is still about even. Cold Voider moving over to help with the Blood Knights once again. No, it's setting up for a breath attack. Wulfric throws down his scary boat, plus a breath attack from the side means all of these skeleton warriors and zombies are just on death's door. They are going to fade away soon. Even if crumbling is low, which it is, they just can't stand up to that kind of pressure. Wulfric is still alive. Blood Dragon Lord, full HP, trying to find him right now. He's just standing on the side, observing the battle, doing what he can. And this is too many units blobbed up on the Mortis Engine. They're all taking the Mortis Engine's AoE damage over time, as long as it's in melee with them, so they need to back off. The Armored Skinwolves did finish off the Blood Knights we talked about. In the distance, there are some throwing axes that could come back to the fight. There are some Skinwolves that are chilling and healing at the moment. Wulfric dives back into the fight. A zombie summon is on top of him. Cold Voider dives down. Familiar Balefiend of Fire is here also. But everybody's nerfed by the Helm of Discord, giving them pretty subpar melee stats. Wulfric is officially down to 2,000 HP. There's no infantry left for him to clear, so now he's just kind of a mediocre large duelist. He does get routed. 600 HP on him as the Vargulf slaps him in the butt, along with Blood Dragon Lord. Counts ahead on the balance of power. And this Mortis Engine needs to be destroyed. Looks like the Norscan player has identified that. The Cold Voider spent most of its attacks there attacking the Mortis Engine. If it has any breaths left in it, it should... No, it has 0. I was going to say it should fly up and breath attack the Mortis Engine. So far, good focus, though. It looks like a lot of the attack orders onto the Mortis. The Norscan player realizes what he needs to take care of and what he needs to do. Meanwhile, he should be cycle charging a little bit more with the Cold Voider because the Vargulf is kicking its ass right now while it sits and tries to land hits on that Mortis Engine. The Blood Dragon Vampire Lord is going to come back. Ooh, that was brutal. Flaming Sword of Ruin on everyone in this blob, and then the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord gets a nasty breath attack down, hitting a ton of stuff, but he also kills his own Mortis Engine, so he's like, you know what, fuck it, I don't need it. I don't give a shit. Another Overcast Invocation heck on him and his Vargulf. With the hunger and with him being so healthy right now, I think the Overcast Invocation heck was a bit of a waste. It's just, yeah, I mean, he took the Overcast damage for it, and it's more Winds of Magic, so... If he watches this back, he'll want to be a little more conservative with those invocations and heck, throwing them out on zombies and skeletons in the early game, then throwing them out on a full HP Lord is a little more than you need. Because how many zombie summons do you have left? You have 4 zombie summons left? Yeah, that should be where your Winds of Magic are going at this point. Cold Voider is going to try and back off. Wulfric's still routing for the hills. Throwing axes are throwing in, and Marauders are trying to opt back into the fight, but the Vargulf is going to kick the shit out of the Familiar Balefiend. Skinwolves terror routing yet again. And I don't know if Norska really has the teeth left to do this with so many zombie summons left, with the Vargulf's heal cap not even within sight, and it has... Doesn't the Vargulf have, like, crazy regen? Yeah, it has the hunger. So as long as it's in melee, it'll regen up. But the Blood Dragon Lord has plenty of healing to give it, if he so chooses. Wulfric at 0 leadership. Could possibly come back. I don't know what's wrong with Wulfric's leadership, but this dude always routes and he never comes back. I don't know why. He's lost me a lot of games. I just stick with Throg. Like, strangely, Throg feels like he has better leadership than Wulfric, and he's a troll. Anyway, Vargulf taking a significant amount of damage. Another zombie summon coming in, though, and the Blood Dragon Lord does have to dive back down, does have to get back involved. Looks like he's going to go for a rear attack on the Cold Voider. Most of these spearmen, Marauder spearmen, are just being ignored, and that's fair enough. With a rear charge from some zombies, it looks like the Norscan player will FF. I think Wulfric was reaching the edge of the map. He just didn't want to fight the vampire counts anymore. So GG to both players. For the Norscan player, Evil Walrus, I liked the ballsiness of your caster. I didn't like the Wulfric pick. The play was okay, but I just don't like the pick. I think Wulfric sucks. to be honest. Cold Voider did excellently. Very well played around. Armored Skinwolves also did well. Throwing Axes did fine. Marauders did what they had to. But yeah, just some drop micro there from the Overlord. Cost him a bit in the early game, and then Wolfric. For Longshanks, a little liberal Winds of Magic usage, but overall not too much of a problem. One of his Blood Knights did very well. The other one got deleted by the Cold Voider. The Mortis Engine got to do excellent work most of the game. And most of the rest of the Vampire Count's army got shut down. But, I mean, that is what it's there for. GG. Roar.
Subscribe, yes, yes.